Hey crafty friends, it's Rick. I'm back with another video today. Today we are going to do the double spotlight stamping technique. So we're going to get into it. We're going to use stamps from CC Designs. I'm using the coffee and latte swishy stamp set. And you're going to stamp this a couple times. So I'm going to prep my cardstock. And I'm using Bristol Smooth cardstock, by the way. I prepped it with an anti-static powder tool. And we are going to place our two little images from the coffee and latte stamp set into our stamp positioning tool. And I'm going to ink that up. And I'm going to use a pigment ink. I'm going to use black. But we're going to add some clear embossing powder over each of our image so that we can do a little... we're going to use our Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers today to do some watercoloring on these. So I'll go ahead and I've done that first one. I'm going to brush off any excess powder that I don't need it. And I went ahead and done that, stamped it 3 times. I'm going to stamp it 3 times. We're going to do our next one. I'll prep that layer. And we'll go ahead and stamp it again. I didn't move the stamps. Everything's in the same position as we started with. But you are going to need 3 panels to do this technique. So we'll go ahead and do that one, and we'll put the powder on that one, and we will do a 3rd time, and I will put the powder on that one as well. Then after I get everything on there stamped out, I will heat set the embossing powder. That way I can do them all at the same time. So we'll go ahead and do this one, and heat set clear embossing powder. I'll go ahead and do the other 2 as well, since the heat gun is all nice and heated up. So we'll go ahead and heat emboss that. And our 3rd panel right here as well. So we'll go ahead and stamp it. Like you see, I stamped it out 3 times in the same position. A stamp positioning tool really helps with this technique. It makes it so much easier. All right, so I've got my images stamped out. I'm going to take a oval die. And I'm going to pick out where I want the focal image to be, the spotlight. I'm going to cut that out of the one set. And I will take and remove that. Now, here's what we have left. We have our untouched panel, the one we cut out, and the one with the oval. So we're going to take our oval, and we are going to color that up. Oh, and I lied. We're not using Zig markers today. We're just using dual brush pens. So we're going to take and blend that out. That's why we use the Bristol cardstock also, because it makes it easier to blend your water-based markers. So go ahead and we'll blend that out. I just picked the colors that were close to kind of a skin tone. And I'm just blending that out with a blender pen. Now, my blender pen's getting a little dry, so I'm going to have to either get some more or find the ones that I have hid somewhere that I couldn't find. You can also use a water brush pen marker as a pen as well. I will end up doing that and eventually on this video. All right, we're just coloring again. We're only coloring where the image that is cut out right now. Now, I didn't do this exactly right. I should have colored their background as well, but didn't think about it at the time. I just left it all nice and white back there, but I should have colored that as well. That would have made it. That was actually what I should have done, but I didn't think about it. So we're going to go ahead and color up her little dress. We're going to add just some pink back there, and I'm going to blend that out. Now, this is how I do it. I take and put the color where I want it to be the darkest, and then I blend it out with the blender pen or the water brush pen. You can use the water pen on the Bristol Smooth cardstock. You just can't use a ton of it. It will blend out. So we'll go ahead and do that, and go ahead and pull that. And as I'm sitting here looking at my cards, I'm thinking maybe I should go back and color the rest of it. But I've already taken the photos and everything, and that would mean I would have to take photos again. So probably not going to happen. So they're probably going to be the same. What you see in the video is what you're going to see on the blog post. So there's that. So we'll go ahead and blend that out. And I'm just blending that yellow out. I just picked a yellow that was in the set. I kind of stuck to the same color palette on all the cards. Now, I did notice that I did not... When we get to their hair, and I will show you, I did not color some of her hair because I didn't know it was that way on one of them. I thought it was just pigtails. Well, it's not. Her hair was back there, and I forgot to color it. So there's that, and I did it on the other one too. I did go back and fix it on one of them, But I didn't fix it on one of them, and I didn't realize it until it was already too late. Now, to clean off my blender pen, I just scribble it off onto a scratched piece of paper. We're going to give her a little teal blue dress skirt, and we're going to give her pants that match as well on this one. So we're going to go ahead and blend that out, and we will blend out her little pants. You could just skip the pants and make them less, but they have a little line down the side, so they're like little leggings. So we're going to go ahead and color those to match her little skirt. I also did her shirt the same way, the one that's underneath. She's going to have a pink little cup, so we'll go ahead and blend that out and add that in. And then I also did her little headband in the same color as her top. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and I will blend that out. For the shoes, I just blended the shoes out. I didn't blend the stripe. I just went over it. Now, I'm going to make her a little brunette. Both of them are actually going to be brunettes on this card. And, yeah, I was sitting here looking at the cards when I was writing the blog post, and I was like, oh, man, I totally forgot one side of her head. All right, you can see I switched over to the water brush now. And see, I sat there and colored it. Didn't even realize that was part of her hair back there. I don't know what I was thinking. And I totally missed it on this one over here. I went back and fixed it on the other one. But this one, I just totally left it out of her head. I don't know what I was thinking. So, she's got pigtails over there on that side. It's going over and sweeping in one direction. I don't know. I'm trying to make an excuse right now. I just didn't color it. I don't know why I didn't. So when you're doing it, make sure you do the technique and color everything that you're supposed to color. That's inside your little images. Don't be like me and forget to. Now, I did give them some little rosy cheeks by just scribbling off the pink onto the glass mat and picking it up with the water brush. And then I did blend it out a little bit more to make it nice and blended. And you can see I just dabbed it off with a paper towel to soak up a little bit color to make it lighter. Now we're going to add some shading to that coffee cup. And now we're going to switch over to the other image. Now this is the one that is completely solid. So we'll only have to color the oval area that's going to be open, and plus just a little bit past that, so everything's nice and cohesive. So we're going to go for this one, a little blonde hair. And I think it's the other little girl. When I colored hers, when I realized that her hair I had skipped part of her hair. Anyway, we're just going to go ahead and blend that out past where our little opening will be. And we're going to give them that same skin color we've been using. And it's going to color that in. And I will take my water brush and pull that out, pulling it in to where I want it to be the lightest. And thank God for some clear embossing powder over that black pigment ink, because it made it so much easier. I didn't have to worry about anything running. So we'll go ahead and do their little fingers on her. And let me look at this card. Yeah, I forgot to color the little heart as well on her little dress. And there was something else I forgot on her that I didn't color, but besides the hair. I can't remember now what it was. So we're going to go ahead and do our other little girl skin. And I'm just going to come up around that side. Now you can see I'm adding more color over there because I'm going to pull it out a little bit further. So I'm taking my blender pen, blending that out, making it lighter towards the center. So we're going to go ahead and do that part. We'll do her hair now. I'm going to she's going to be a brunette again. So I'm just putting that same brown color in. And then I will brush up a little bit from the edge and blend that out. Just using that water brush pen, pulling everything out together. Y'all, this technique is actually super fun, especially if you pay attention to what you're supposed to be coloring and what you're not supposed to be coloring. I did not pay attention very well, obviously. All right, we're going to give her a yellow-green shirt. So we're just going to color that. And we're going to give her some yellow-green leggings as well. So I'm just going to add that. You can see I pulled it over a little further than what it is on the opening is going to be. But that way, once we get the layer on top of it, you will notice why we did that. So I'm going to go ahead and give her a pink shirt and pink skirt. We are using the same colors that we used on the other card, just in a different order. That is one thing that it changes the look of the card, but keeps everything nice and cohesive. I did add in an orange to the other one's dress, just for a little bit of difference. I colored her shoes gray, and I colored the other shoes gray. I'm just going to use that same gray for the coffee mug as well, in both of them. So we'll just go ahead and add that. Now I'm just taking that same brown marker that I used for her hair and added in the coffee. Now for our other little girl, she's going to have a blue top, or blue skirt, dress, blue dress, and a blue headband. So I've just added those in. We'll kind of blend that out. I'm also going to add a blue to that stripe on the cup as well. She reminds me of Alice in Wonderland with this color combination. It's probably why I added the orange right here, so that it was all nice and cohesive. All right, I'm just going to take that orange and blend it out to the center. And I didn't mean cohesive. I meant complementary, and try to cut down on the Alice look, because that's not what I was going for. So I'm going to go ahead and blend that out. And I don't know why I didn't do the whole heart right there. I don't know what I was thinking. All right, I'm going to give her little gray shoes as well. That's part of it, is I've meant to do part of the gray on the other shoe and did not. Now we're going to add some shadow underneath her little top of our cup and on the edge. So we'll go ahead and do that. We're going to add that blue back in into that band to add a little bit of shadow in that. And I did give her the heart on there, a little pink. And see, I picked up the pink and I was going to add it to the little thing, and I didn't. I don't know why I didn't. All right, so we're going to go back and I'm going to finish blending everything together. That's why I figured out their hair was not correct. So I did, but see, I did it on one side and didn't do it on the other. So I don't know why I didn't do it on the other side as well. I didn't notice it until after everything was together. I don't know what I was thinking now. All right, so I went back and fixed it on that one. Now I'm going to dry everything with my heat tool, and that way I can get everything ready to go. Now I'm going to cut down each of the panels down to 1/8 of an inch on all four sides to make them all nice and cohesive and square. So I just went through and cut them all down to 4 by 5 1/4. And then I will take and place that into the Misty. I'm going to stamp my sentiments now. I decided to do that next to make it easier. So I'm trying to figure out the placement of my sentiment. I decided I didn't like it over there. I'm going to go right underneath the little oval. And I just picked the same black pigment ink that we used before and stamped that right down. So we're going to stamp that. We're going to go ahead and do our other little sentiment on the other panel. And I did bring it down a little bit further because that was going to be a little too high. So I brought that down and I did center it. So we'll pick up our stamp. So I picked the stamp up and I'm going to step it down right there. And then I can move that out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and work on my card fronts now. And they're just side folding A2 card bases in craft cardstock. And I had this coffee stencil in my stash. And I'm going to take some ground espresso ink. And I'm using the oxide. I'm just going to go right over that stencil to add a little bit to the background of the card. And I'm going to take and turn it around and flip it and do it the other direction around the bottom edge to make sure everything's nice and filled up. I don't have to worry about the center because you're not going to see that. But I'm going to do that to both panels, or both card fronts. Card bases. It's a card base. I did let the stencil slip a little bit, so I had to go back and readjust that. And then I flipped it around and down the other side. So I'll go ahead and do that. I wanted to have that whole coffee theme going on throughout the whole card. So this stencil was a great way to do that. So now I'm going to take and we're going to add our card front, each panel to our card front. So this is the one that's just a solid layer, no color. So we're going to add that and center it on our card front. And then we will take and center our other panel onto our card as well. This is the one that has the coloring in the center. So we'll add that. And then our other panel is the one that has the oval out of it. So we'll take and add foam tape behind that. Because what we're going to do is pop this up over our image that's colored right there in the center. So I'm just adding foam tape right along the edge of my card so that nothing is down. I did add little pieces right there in those little corners as well so that nothing would dip or sag, because Lord knows we don't want no saggy nothing, do we? No, ma'am. All right, so we'll go ahead and add liquid glue after I peeled off all those backings of that foam tape, because Lord knows we're going to have some wiggle room. Now, this is the most key part, is making sure when you place this on top, one, you do not wiggle it after you get it on, and two, make sure you line it up. Now, I moved it slightly somehow after I had it all perfectly lined up, and it's slightly off, but you can't really tell. Now, for our little oval, we're going to add foam tape behind that, because we're going to add that on our other panel in the same position, and we're going to line it up. And we'll just cut those foam strips down a little bit. We're going to add this. Add those little pieces. Can't waste a foam tape. Gosh, no. All right, we'll go ahead and peel that backing off. Add some liquid glue. Got my tweezers. Gotta have those. Can't do nothing without those. All right, we'll go ahead and add this. We're going to add this, center it over our panel or our card front where everything is lined up nice and even. Maybe it's this one that I didn't line up right. It's this one that I did not line up, that I moved accidentally. I thought I had it lined up, and somehow I moved it somewhere before the glue dried, so it's a little bit off. But you can't really tell looking down at it. I would suggest standing up and doing it, and being because I think that's part of the problem where I was sitting down. Now, I did pick out some gem stickers, and I just popped those close to the sentiment. I picked out colors that matched each card from my stash, and I added 3 at the top, 3 on the top right, and on that card, and 2 at the bottom left. This card, I'm going to add 3 on the bottom right and 2 in the top left. And again, I just picked out colors that were close to what I used, represented there. These were, again, from my stash. So I will pop those on. I could have probably not done that one right there because it was a little close. But I'm going to go ahead and add some gel pen highlights now. So we're coming through, adding those final little details to really make our card stand out a little bit. Everything's nice and dry. So I'm just going to pop in those highlights. And again, I'm only adding the highlights on the ones that are colored. The parts that are black and white, they don't get nothing. They stay just the way they are. And that's what makes this technique so stand out. It's a take on the whole on the spotlight technique. It's just popping the images up and making it a little bit different. So we will go ahead and finish our little highlights on this one. And I'm going to pop these back in because I decided I wanted to have something on the inside of the card. So we're going to take the opposite, one of the girls on each of the cards. And I just picked one of them. I'm going to pick the same sentiment on this one. This one is the sentiment on that side says coffee makes everything better. The inside sentiment, I put a hug and a mug and stamped that down. I did stamp it a couple times because I'm using the ground espresso oxide ink to stamp with. So once I got a good impression, I was good. So we stamped it like 3 times to get a nice good impression with that. And I will peel that one up and switch it out for the other card. This is the one that has a hug and a mug on the outside. And I'm going to pick the other little girl that I didn't use on that card. And I'm going to stamp, all I need is a mocha and you on the inside. So we stamp that down a couple times as well to get it nice and dark and everything nice and smooth. That's I hadn't used those sentiments, so I hadn't prepped them yet. So I did have to stamp it a couple times to get it nice and smooth. All right, so there is the outside, and I'm going to pull both cards back in. You can, here's a look at the inside, and there's a look at the outside of the double spotlight technique. If you like this video, you're probably going to like the one coming up next, and I will see you over there. Stay crafty. Love you. Stay crafty. Bye.